parliamentarians' role needed. This topic is in the light of one article that appeared in the Hindu, written by President of PRS Legislative Research, Seize the Distractions, Seize the Moment. The context of this article is two important decisions in the ongoing COVID-19 crisis. One is the reduction in salary and allowances of MPs, and the other is the cancellation of MP lads for 2 years. And the writer is of the opinion that both these decisions are only symbolic in nature and in fact distractions from the real issue. And he has dealt with both these questions one by one. So let us see one by one. The first is the reduction in salary and allowances of MPs. In this regard, he is saying that it is cosmetic cut. 30% cut results into savings of only a few crores and the amount is insignificant. But the question is not about amount only. In fact, he is raising one very important question, that are parliamentarians performing their real constitutional roles during the crisis? And this is not in reality being done. And this can be substantiated from our arguments. This is parliament being absent in India. And in fact, two important roles of parliament is there. One is the role as deliberative body and the other is role as oversight body. And both these are very important role of parliament. And in fact, Indian Parliament is not doing both these roles in the ongoing COVID-19 crisis. The first is the role as deliberative body. No discussion on implications of the epidemic has taken place in Parliament. Even when Janata curfew was imposed, during that week itself Parliament was in session, but no discussion on ongoing corona crisis took place. He is saying that MPs should deliberate on the actions and policies to be taken by the government for fight against the corona. For example, alternatives like video conferencing can be used, but this is not being done. So role as deliberative body, Indian Parliament has been absent in this case. Then again, role as oversight body also, Indian Parliament is absent. In fact, Parliament's role is to scrutinize the executive's actions. That is what actions the governments are taking. But in this case also, Indian Parliament is absent. And two examples he has cited. One is the New Zealand Parliament formed one epidemic response committee to examine the government's management of the epidemic, and that committee is meeting through video conference. Similarly, in UK also one secondary legislation scrutiny committee has been created to scrutinize the government orders. But on both these aspects, role as deliberative body and role as oversight body, our parliament is absent. This is where the real change is needed. This is where the author is emphasizing on. Now let us come to the next question, that is the cancellation of MP lads. So in this argument case, the author is saying that it is a good move, and in fact savings of 4,000 crores per year will be there. But he is also of the opinion that it should not be cancelled for only 2 years. Rather, it should not be continued as such. Why? Because of two important aspects he is focusing on. One is the MPs will focus on their role as national legislators, and the other is the impact on the separation of power, both horizontally and vertically. So first is the MPs will focus on their role as national legislators. In fact, MP lads is about MP focusing on the constituency only. But any MP represents the whole India as such and should act as a national legislator. So his attention should not get diverted to only the constituency from which he comes. Secondly, he is saying that separation of power is getting affected because horizontally there is different organs of the state, executive and legislature. Both actions getting overlapped, and vertically between different levels of the government, that is the MPs taking some of the actions or executing some of the actions at the local level where the jurisdiction of local bodies should prevail. See friends, the horizontally first, what he meant by horizontally. MPs have two key duties with respect to executive, and with these two key duties MP lads are coming into conflict. Which these two duties are: first is the MPs sanction fund to the government, that is the government budget, but they are allocating and sanctioning fund to themselves in the form of MP lad. So this is where one conflict of interest. Then secondly, the MPs hold government accountable for any work done by them, including spending of funds, but MPs are themselves spending fund. So in these two cases, in allocating the fund and in also spending the fund, in these two cases, the MP lad is showing conflict of interest. In fact, the author is saying that MP lads promote the MPs to identify and get specific projects executed. Rather, there should be focus on policy measures by the MPs. to achieve the same results and ensure that the government is implementing those policies, not the MPs. This is very important to understand. And then the third important aspect is financial audit of CAG and PSC adds another layer of conflict, because CAG is not legislator, and in fact it is CAG is scrutinizing the MP lads being done by the legislators, and then the CAG report is audited by PAC, Public Accounts Committee, which constitutes of MPs, and then the PAC submits the CAG report to the Parliament again, where it is again deliberated upon by the MPs. So there is another layer of conflict. Now vertically also there is conflict. MP lads are spent on some local level issues, hyper local problems, for example hand pumps, school rooms. But what is the utility of you MPs getting involved in this, when the local bodies and local people should themselves get involved in such issues? Local people should identify at local levels what problems are there and what should be resolved, and that should be executed by the local bodies. Of course MPs get representation in local bodies as per part 9 and part 9A of our constitution, but the works should be executed by the local bodies itself, not by the MPs. So this is also one place where there is conflict. Now he is also giving some scope for reform, and some good points he has given. The first is the Parliament should explore how technology can be used to improve its efficiency. For example, video conferencing in the ongoing COVID-19 crisis. Then the second and very important point is MPs should be given with office space and research staff. This is very important because MPs need support of the research staff, survey and all these things, so that they could understand what law is needed in the country, what amendment in any prevailing law is needed. And this research and survey done by the MP staff and the office support to MPs would add to the quality of debate in the Parliament. This is very important. Then the third is public debates on issues that impact the working of our legislatures and holding them accountable for their work as national legislators. That is, the public debate should be largely on MPs performing the role of legislator and representing the whole India. This is what he is arguing for. Then the next is right compensation structure should be there, so that best people should come, they could choose being legislator as their career, they could take interest. And then the last one is the MP lads should be done away with. He is of the opinion MP lads should be abolished as such. Thank you, friends.